All right.
Well, you know what happens when I try to do the intro?
Yeah, you're terrible at intro.
I am at terrible at intros.
You're easily the worst introducer who ever introed an introduction.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's harsh.
That's really harsh.
I'm a little hurt.
Welcome to the 4 Mile Circus. 4 Mile Circus is a podcast by 4 Mile Circus, a full-cycle media service company out of Brooklyn, New York. My name is Sean. The terrible introducer of introductions next to me is
Nicole.
And on today's podcast, we're talking to some guys. We've loaded the living room full of men.
It's true.
It's practically raining them. More like a light drizzle of men. And who are we talking to today?
Today, we are talking to Don Hooper, Tarik Davis, and LeMar McClean, who are the team behind Page One, which is a short film that is currently in festivals. The three of them are actors, writers, comedian, podcast hosts, and filmmakers. They're the hosts of the Brothers from Another Planet podcast, which we have featured on 4 Mile Circus before as our podcast of the week. And Page One is their new excellent short that we're going to be talking about today. We'll link some of their other work in the show notes. How are you all doing today?
We might have to change the name of our podcast to Black Rain.
Black Rain.
You heard it here first.
I'm great. This is LeMar speaking to all of you who are listening, and thank you guys for having us. It's wild because I imagine, like, I listen to the show, so whenever, Sean, you talk, the circus music plays before.
Right.
And when you're in the building, that doesn't happen. But in my head, it does.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us. This is Tarik. It's a delight to be here.
So this is Don P. It's great to be here too. And it's weird that I'm talking and everyone just turned to look at me. I feel like I'm in a corporate room. Oh my God.
Yeah, no,
So scary. Normally it's only black people turning to talk to look at you when you talk.
Yeah.
You know.
What's going on? Do I owe anybody
Now,
money?
Sean and Nicole are cool. They're great.
And very corporate. Very corporate. environment.
Well, almost. We probably need to do that for tax reasons.
Oh, yeah, we probably should actually be a little more corporate, but that's another whole conversation.
No, let's talk about corporate tax law.
Yeah,
Forget about everything else.
Oh, okay.
So Page One, that's what we're here to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Besides
Yeah.
chiseled jaws, because always room for chiseled jaws.
There's always room for chiseled jaws.
Lamar got a chisel jaw.
Yeah, man.
It's a decently chiseled jaw, man.
I'm cool. I'm all right.
We'll link some
Nobody
photos
said
in the
you're not
show
cool.
notes. so people can-
It's not like it's an option we can give you more of a jaw. I'm good. I don't need it.
No, I'm fine.
No, take some of this
No,
jaw.
hold the jaw.
crafting-
You
Hold the
want
jaw,
this
please.
jaw?
Characters right now for our RPG game and like we're making Lamar's face. And
We got all this extra jaw just to give out.
I love jaw. It's great.
gotta get some jaw. I don't know where that's going.
So yeah, Don directed Page One.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, tell us about Page One and what each of you did on it, because you each did different things.
I was a director. I mean, Page One really started, and it all really comes down to Tarik, because it started with a script that he wrote, a film script that he wrote, and he's been working on, it's been mulling over in his head for the good part of a decade. And maybe 3 years ago when LeMar, Tarik, and I started podcasting and doing Brothers from Another Planet, he brought up his script and he gave it to me to read. And we started doing like shorts based on it. We did a short based on it called Welcome to My Parlor. And a year later, or maybe a year and a half later, Evan Kaufman and LeMar both individually had the idea to try and make a short from Page One and then bring it to festivals. But the whole fact is that this is Tarik's baby in many ways, the film script, and I was delighted to be a part of it. And LeMar was a great producer, and Tarik was a wonderful actor, as he always is.
It's a team effort, guys. It's totally a team effort.
Wakanda forever.
I'm taking the jaw and I'm passing the jaw around. Just passing it around.
So it kind of came about because of this character you created who is in Welcome to My Parlor, which I also recommend to 4 Mile Circus listeners. It's a delightful little.
Oh, thank you
Little
so
short.
much. Yes. I created the character 17 years ago. 2002, around 2002. I don't know if you guys know Paul Scheer, another UCB alum. He had a talk show, and he asked me to do. It was a Halloween themed talk show. This was around circa 2002, 2003, and he was like, "Yeah, why don't you come on and bring a Halloween themed character." And I'm a horror movie fan, and horror movies and comedy they intertwine for me consecutively, as well as politics. So I had this idea about bringing to life a character who's an actor who can only acquire the roles of being the first black guy killed in horror movies, which is a trope. It's a trope that's not as common anymore, thank goodness, but it's still a recognizable trope in this time of Black Lives Matter that I think it's warranted that we discuss it. So that's where the character started, and then a decade ago, 11 years ago, I started putting that character in a full feature screenplay, figuring out what themes you can deconstruct, what places you can go. What does it mean when Black people's familiarity with actual horror in our real lives intersects with a horror film?
Oh, I mean, I didn't realize it was my
That's
turn to talk. I didn't know that the Abel Worthy character goes back that far. I didn't realize that it was part of a bit show to begin with.
The character, the name, I don't even think I used the name Abel, but it was definitely the essence of the black guy that's killed, and then the more I was like, oh, Abel, first person killed in the Bible, murdered in the Bible.
Yeah, right.
Like the names, it all started to formulate.
Yeah. So to speak to a little bit, I mean, Evan's not here, but I can speak to my end of getting involved with the project. I had my web series Breakfast in Bed at the Sidewalk Festival in Alabama on 2016.
Which you should all check out. Breakfast in Bed it's a great little mini.
It's a rom-com about
series.
a wrestling fan and his roommate. She's more the lead, but you know.
And you're great in it.
I'm that guy. so yeah, breakfastinbedtv.com. But the experience of being in Birmingham, Alabama, first off, it was surprising how pleasant it was. It's like a blue dot in a trash state. And the festival itself is, must we play Find the Lie right now?
That wasn't that live.
But the experience that they provide for filmmakers is top notch. I mean, they treat everyone like they're VIPs the entire weekend. It's just a great operation. I think they're on their 19th year now, and I got the opportunity to see a lot of features that I wouldn't have seen otherwise, but also a lot of shorts. And they had not one, but I think two sort of late night programs where there was just a lot of creepy shorts, horror films. And there were a few that stuck out to me that among the people who I became friends with, because it turns into like a summer camp vibe when you meet everybody and you're celebrating what everyone made. But I was talking to this one guy, and you remember Brant Chandere. We met him at our screening out in L.A., or we talked to him. And his short, he had explained, was a scene from a feature that he had written already, and it was stirring. It was creepy, and it was that I want to see more of this kind of experience. And so seeing that, and then talking to Kate about, I believe I was already talking about victim number one at that point, like what are we going to do, because we're in a lot of ways limited by resources based on the concept. And Kate and I kicked around the idea, and she said, you should probably just do a short like as proof of concept. So I come back to New York, and it's kind of like the Fred and Carrie thing. It's like, I went to this place and I came back.
Yeah.
It's Birmingham, Alabama, and I have an idea. And that was kind of where it all came together. We met, and I kind of nailed down, like, this is what we want to do. This is what we can do. Let's do this, and maybe it'll get us to what we want to do. And so it's very much from more of a, not even script supervision, but just like overlooking the scripts that Tarik had written, and then, securing materials and resources to make the thing happen. I did some set deck stuff.
You did,
Found some old props from my basement,
really
and, so it was a team effort in a lot of ways. The crew was great.
Props.
Yeah, it was really
Handled the Queen's rental.
Yeah,
Rental, man.
rented a prop gun from Ridgewood. That was a lot of it. a lot of first time experiences of just like, well, this is what we have to do to get shit done. So let's endure those headaches and inconveniences. And then you look back and go like, how the fuck did we do all that?
Yeah. Well, I also think that there's the fourth musketeer, the D'Artagnan to this group.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't here, Evan, and he was also very integral.
He did a lot of
to
the lifting.
A lot of that heavy lifting. Like the four of us, our powers combined, we made it happen.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say our powers combined. So
And
Our powers combined.
and our powers combined.
And just to speak for Evan a little bit more, in respect with respect to what you guys talk about typically with other guests on the show, we bet on ourselves on the front end. The money that we spent, we came out of pocket for, and it was just from my perspective, it was like it's not really a loss; it's an investment. So whatever happens after that, like no matter how far down the line it takes place, that's whatever that is. Evan has a better sense of how crowdfunding works and has more of a mind to get his fucking money back right away. So he was the brains behind us doing the Indiegogo that we did, and it was really successful. And I was glad to look at the credits of the people who gave us money, and just to see the kind of support that was out there. That I mean, you don't get to see every day. Like I imagine there are people who listen to 4 Mile Circus that you might think like, we don't know who's listening to this, but then somebody might come up to you in the bar and go like, yeah, 4 Mile Circus, and you're like, oh my god, thank you. Like we do that all the time for Brothers from Another Planet, and so to have the names in our faces every time we screen this film, which is often these days, it feels good.
Yeah, it's humbling when you crowdfund and people actually give you money, people you don't know personally, and you're like,
Tex Cobb.
Tex Cobb, man.
But-
Tex Cobb. There's a guy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Tex
no, no,
Cobb.
no. I'm guessing that this is somebody who you're like, who's that?
Well, we can only assume.
Wait, real quick, Sean, you know who Tex Cobb is?
It sounds super familiar.
Yeah,
Okay.
it would.
I'll
Oh,
give you
went over my head.
Raising Arizona.
Oh, who was he in?
Okay,
Raising Arizona?
so the beast in Raising Arizona that beats the heck out of Nicolas Cage rides the motorcycle with the Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah.
That is the
Okay.
one and only Tex Cobb. You've
Oh
seen
my
him in
goodness.
a variety of movies. What's the movie where he thinks he's black? It's slipping my mind right now. He's in a mental institution. He thinks he's black. He's like one of those guys, if you grew up in the 80s and the 90s, you saw him in every movie. And he was just like the big guy, and he could be hilarious. And I just saw Tex Cobb donated $5 to your film. And I was like,
Nice.
We don't know
if it's the real Tex Cobb, but you know what? I believe it is.
Yeah, that's what's important.
And that's more important. That's all that matters.
All
Just
you
keep
gotta
that
do is
alive in your
believe.
heart. And
Yeah.
that's beautiful. But it's an amazing thing, I think, when people who aren't like your friend, who you've been
Right.
to, are just like, yeah, I will give some of my money that I presumably worked for, so that you can make your dream come to life. You're
Absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
what?
It was, and you talk about humbling. Like, again, this was a project that has been in my head for quite some time. But to have brothers who I actually consider brothers, Evan and Evan come in, who is also now an extended part of this family, come in and be like, no, we believe in this, and we're gonna make it happen. That was, it was incredibly surreal, being on set and seeing my friends helping me make this thing that's been in my head a reality, and it was incredibly humbling. Incredibly humbling.
The thing about it's funny because as much that as we all did, and I mean we shot page 1 in a day,
Wow.
and yeah, so it was what 8-10 pages in one day, and it was long, it was challenging, but at the same time, I'd say, at least from my part, maybe even Evans to some degree, the work that we did on that day was very much like on the PA side of things. It was easy. You know, it was it didn't have a whole lot of the anxiety that would come with the person who wrote the thing and came up with the idea for the thing, doing the thing, and having to execute the thing, all in one. You know what I mean? So I as thankful as I am that Tarik has brought us along for this ride, and we've been able to really dig in and make things happen. It's like it's nothing compared to knowing the anxiety that comes with having something to do and actually doing it. I mean, I didn't want to get out of bed today. You know, so it's
Who did?
it's I mean, so like knowing that the potential of just being crippled by putting yourself out there and making your thing happen. I mean, I think, Tarik, you should give yourself more credit on the spectrum of what actually had to get done.
Thank you. There's more than enough Bruce Campbell draw to go around. Chiseled Bruce Campbell draw. We all get a piece.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how was it doing it in a day for Don directing
Please.
as well? Because that's a lot to be in charge of to get through.
It was nerve wracking. I mean, I can't lie. Because it was an early day and we had to do a lot the night before. I don't remember how big our crew was. Maybe we had like 15 people with cast and crew.
Yeah,
It was somewhere between 15
altogether.
and 20.
And we loaded in the gear the night before.
We loaded in the gear the night before.
Yeah.
That's when like LeMar learned all about grip equipment.
Yeah, C stands. What's that?
Yeah.
The bar. But yeah, like we had set up a lot of things. The pre-production really went well. Evan and LeMar did amazing work with the pre-production and just making sure like all the props were ready. And like last minute, I had to think about set dressing because we set up the whole thing we wanted to do everything in one location, one scene, one location, because otherwise it wouldn't be able to be done in a day, and then the cost would have ballooned. So we scripted it out that way, and we pared down a scene from the feature script so that it would work in that space. But then you get there, and then there's still things you have to worry about, like blocking and all that, and just getting cast to work together. I don't know. It was surreal. It was surreal at every moment, but it was just great because like usually like on Welcome to My Parlor or any other production that I've done, I'm trying to be the producer, the director, and the DP at the same time. And it was great. Or even now when I just do production and directing, it was great to just turn around and be like, go to LeMar or go to Evan and be like, hey, I need this. And they're like,
Which you had to be reminded about.
Yeah.
Because
we all did, but it was
in
good.
that groove of having I mean, all five of us can speak to that feeling as creatives who feel like, I mean, there are a lot of instances where you do have to do a lot on your own. So it's hard to, I mean, it's hard to ask for help. It's hard to know what that help looks like. It's hard to differentiate where the role that you need to fill is separate from the things that like other people can do.
Yeah,
And
but
so-
that's why I mean, but you and Evan were. It's not that you guys were integral being on set. You guys kept everyone like, oh no, this is your lane. You're good in your lane, and there was like a relief in both. I can speak for myself, but I think Don would agree. There was a relief in us, like knowing, oh, this is our clear lane. We're not juggling 8 balls at once. Like we're just doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, we were juggling a lot of balls.
We were.
Because I was like, LeMar, I need this. And he was like, if you could formulate a thought.
We weren't
and
juggling.
Tell me what the thought. We were juggling balls.
We weren't juggling.
That was a different
We weren't
movie,
juggling
man.
8 balls. That was the movie you made.
It's a whole different movie, guys.
balls and balls of me.
Balls movie.
Oh gosh, sorry, guys. I don't know what happened.
It's
I don't know
funny,
where we
though.
went.
But like going and like LeMar took on so many roles during that day, and it was really great to have LeMar take on so many roles, and anything that I needed done, LeMar was there to do that. So it wasn't just PAing, like doing set dressing was really important, and then remembering where everything was for like to reset the scene. He had to be in charge of that, and he only knew that he had to be in charge of that on the day. Because I didn't, it was just a thing that had slipped by my head, because of we were dressing the scene that day, just because the cost of, I think me and Evan and I locked down the location maybe 4 days before.
Wow. Yeah.
Which was, and I mean,
And that was spooky.
it was an
Yeah.
ideal space under the circumstances. I mean, the set decoration that had to happen was minimal because a lot of the stuff that we used as far as aesthetic was there. I mean, it was a brick room.
Yeah.
And it worked out, and the DP was great. Tyler Ribble was great, and he was like willing to just like, because I had my intricate shot list that just doesn't work out. And I was like, I'm gonna do this, and it's just like, okay, let's just get coverage, man. Let's get coverage.
And we had an AD, right?
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
kept the trains running on time
Andrew
as best he
Cooper
could.
is like my
Cooper
AD
Tansman.
for life.
Yeah.
He always does amazing work. Yeah, Evan was just like that calming spirit, like, "Hey Don, how's it going? Don,
Yeah.
what do you need? All right, I'll get it done."
He's
Yeah.
playing
Like, man,
smooth
are you-
jazz
are you-
downstairs. It was nice.
What are
He
you
was
guys
great.
smoking? Because I need something right now.
Part of me wonders between Evan and myself because I mean, you kind of Don mentioned that we had a sort of a similar method of contribution in the sense of just like keeping people at ease, or at least kind of just managing the environment, like cast and crew, as far as that all that stuff goes. Evan and I, to some degree, we both kind of day job in office settings, which can be from my end one of the more miserable experiences day to day, and there might have been some semblance of we all have to be here, we all have something to do. Let's make it so that it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
especially if we really want to do this, so it's just an interesting coincidence that I noticed.
Yeah, I mean, the day started off because I had my first shot was supposed to go off at like 9:30 or something like that, and because of a huge makeup thing that we didn't consider,
Yeah.
Yep.
because we have like a huge makeup change where somebody gets injured and then somebody transforms into a monster, and it's like, when do we do these shots?
Yep.
And then the makeup person and the AD kind of like, we had conferred on something beforehand and then realized that it wasn't going to work out because of how it was. So we had to figure out how we can say that the story will go a certain way so that she could start the foundation of her makeup change, because we didn't want to do effects makeup. There was like just subtle changes in the effects makeup, and like we did in After Effects, but most of it was all practical, hardcore makeup, because we're like all 80s buffs.
Yeah.
And it so we had to like restructure the shots because of that, and that took us off schedule. So a lot of things like just slightly took us off schedule. So we didn't get our first shot off till 11.
We had a fire alarm go off.
We had a fire alarm go off at 6 or 7.
I give
really
a
fun.
lot of credit to like all of us, Evan included. We're all improv based actors, so like we're used to dealing with chaos.
Yeah, it's true.
So like everyone was like, "Oh, this isn't going well. All right, well, this is say yes and to that and keep it moving." Like I do think that was part of not just everyone's individual talents, but our collective embrace of chaos kind of worked out.
Because that's what low budget filmmaking is it's just a series of fires that you're not expecting that just spontaneously combust, and you're like, okay, do I have a team that can deal with this sudden fire?
Yeah,
Literally.
Or am I going to do this scene on fire? Looks like
Yeah.
Looks
Would
like we
that
got a
work?
script change, fellas. Looks like we got a script change.
we had a smoke machine on set
Yeah.
to create haze, like a
okay.
haze machine, and like that shit went off, set off the fire alarm, and LeMar had to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
And
I
Bob
mean,
Pizza, he had to do smash.
like that was a black hole of like that was like a 90-minute ordeal because I went downstairs and I mean we're not supposed to be in that building, and
We found that out afterwards that we had
Yeah.
basically paid for a location that we were just kind of snuck into.
yeah.
Oh,
He was like,
Well, but
"Yeah,
it was
I
it was
got
pretty
you."
clear when we got into the building, though, like no one should be here. Like it was pretty clear, like this
Yeah.
isn't a safe place. This is not. I mean, it's ideal for a horror movie, but it's not ideal to actually like
Breathe, maybe.
breathe in.
I mean, it was a sketchy office-ish space in Queens that probably didn't have the license to be that. And the space that we were in was just one of those spaces on the top level there, and we had our staging was on a level where we had done out where our last shot was, and that was where the smoke machine set off the fire alarm. And there's this big panel downstairs, and I'm trying to figure out how to turn it off before it gets sent to the dispatcher and all that. Sirens, I already hear them. They're already coming down the street. And more than anything, I'm embarrassed because there is no fire. More so than I'm worried about us losing time on the shoot. I just civil agencies, they make me nervous anyway. Even firefighters. Anyway, so they show up. I tell them, I wave them down. It's like, yeah, sorry, we're shooting a movie and our smoke machine set off the alarm. We're sorry. Do you have to? He's like, yeah, we have to come in anyway. So it's this team of like 4 or 5 guys, and they've also got sort of a senior fireman with them, and a couple guys go up there with their full gear, axes and everything. They tromp upstairs, and I'm waiting downstairs, and I'm pretty nervous about the whole situation. And I'm standing there with two guys, and they're like, "Hey, so what's the movie that you're shooting?" And so I explained to them what page one is about, and they just light up. They feel like they're in the room where it happens, you know. So I'm explaining that to them. They come down. The other guys come down, and it checks out. Everything is fine. They look at that panel, and I guess do whatever they have to do with that. And I apologize profusely to the mall, going, sorry, you guys came all the way out here for nothing. And the older guy, the boss of the mall, goes, "Hey, man, it's not always nothing."
I remember that.
and says, "Good luck with the movie."
Yeah.
It's not always nothing.
You know,
Yeah.
it really took the edge off. It was, and then I ordered pizza, and we were all good. So yeah, it's an exciting long day. And we got to drive home and drive that truck back to wherever the hell.
Oh
we did,
man,
to
that was a great
Evan's
drive
house
home, man.
and debrief. Whew. Yeah, that fireman story. I like that guy.
Yeah.
Sounds like he was angling for a cameo.
Yeah, right.
You know?
It's the grizzled,
It's
like,
like, you saw how I delivered that, right? You saw it.
Yeah, that was cool because at that point, you get a bit punchy. Even if you have eaten, and you get stir crazy. So maybe I'm looking back, it's like it's fine that it happened, and so.
No. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
and you know what? Most of the cast and crew upstairs, we just continued on. They handled it down there. We didn't know. That was
LeMar,
what.
man.
That was it. Was impeccable. It
That's
was an
what you need.
impeccable job done by these gentlemen.
Congratulations. That's and it turned out.
Yeah.
It turned out. It's good. And it does leave you wanting more.
Awesome.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
saying that.
Yeah.
And I was curious what, now that, we're in this age of suddenly, again, there's one of these waves of people who don't usually like horror are like, oh, maybe there's something there. Maybe
Yeah.
horror can be a way to deal with real world politics and things, since that's, maybe some of us have enjoyed that kind of horror for decades, but it's now in fashion again.
But no, now, like, there was a movie and, like, there was good people in it. It was by a guy who had a TV show, so now it's legit. He had a TV show
I've heard.
on basic cable, Nicole.
That's
all that
somebody told me that
matters.
once.
Yeah.
But so I'm wondering how that, because a project like Page One has been germinating for a very long time.
Yeah.
And it got released into a context where it might be, I'm wondering if it's being received differently than it might have been if it had come out, a year or two previously, if there's interest in maybe funding for a feature, something like that. To the degree you can talk about it.
As we all look at each
Well,
other.
I do think that that the timing is fortunate for us, and I'm kind of torn about that because of how relevant the concept is anyway. It's as from a producer standpoint, as nice as it is to know that something is commercially viable because of a precedent that's been set. That's nice, but at the same time, that means that it increases the amount of opportunists who want to come around and who might not necessarily want to be partners in the truest sense, but more from a business standpoint. And like, that's cool, but we've been doing this in such a close-knit capacity and collaborating in that way that we want to work with people who want to ride, not just cash in.
You want partners, not vultures.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And so but that said, we've seen both already, or heard from both in some capacity, and there's a level of that I think we have to be okay with because people don't know us,
Right.
Sure.
So
Sometimes you can take as much advantage of the vultures as they can take of you if you go in eyes open.
that's true.
Absolutely. And yeah, to the point that LeMar just made about, like, we are relative unknowns. So, for as good or bad as our execution is, I'm betting on the latter. As good as our execution was, I meant the former. As good as our execution was, Yeah, there's still like the society, and as good as I assume we were talking about Get Out, right?
Well, I have no idea. What? Get
What are you
out?
talking about?
Well, Get Out of Town.
It's talking about the new Insidious movie.
I
Oh.
would see it 3 times.
I'm sorry.
Did you say Wahoo Serious?
Wahoo Serious. Whoa.
You didn't say Wahoo Serious?
No, I said I was talking about Insidious. The new
Oh,
Insidious, but
I thought I was like, wow,
that went deep.
like we went into a rabbit hole.
80s,
Yeah.
yo. Whatever.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's all connected.
He was like, what was it, Young Einstein?
Young
Yes.
Einstein,
Yeah.
like the Australian or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Man. Yo, I watched that. I love that movie.
We open in Tasmania.
Yeah, it was like I always wanted to watch it. I never got to.
Yeah.
They have real
Same.
Tasmanian devils in it, and they don't look like the spinny kind. They look more like critters.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I've
That
seen the
mo-
real ones.
Yahoo Serious,
I
man.
don't think they're real.
Shout out to Yahoo Serious
Like
if you're
the
out
ones
there.
that-
They dead?
I guess so. I
They
don't know.
extinct?
Probably.
Tasmanian devils?
No,
I
I
you
think
meant
this-
Yahoo Serious for a second. I was like, you're dead? I had no
I'm-
idea.
It's the 80s.
I'm basing this on Young Einstein that I've seen once.
I've
And
seen it. I've seen it at least 3 times.
What were you saying though?
Yeah,
It's not important.
So
We're
you're
talking
talking
about-
about
somewhere.
It's debating on.
I was talking about the difficult aspects of fame, and fame is a currency right now, more so than having a socially relevant and in demand project. Like people want to know what's your social media following, what's your so kind of our strategy to either instead of going against the tide is one of the things we've been doing along with the festival run. We've been doing these private screenings and trying to do them as many cities as possible, where we can give the context of ourselves along with our art.
That's been fun because, and to Tarik's point, it's a fun strategy. Sometimes it's not the most cost effective because depending on the travel that's required. But the thing that I appreciate about it is that we can have a role in building our following as we continue to shop this movie. And the experience I'm thinking of that we've had a few different screenings, but the one in Philadelphia was the event that at Amalgam Comics and Coffee House that, I mean, it was intimate, but they were really just great people, you know, and we got to connect with them and interact with them on a level that I think most film people don't, like, or famous people might not necessarily. We just hung out and talked about the movie, showed the movie, and hung out some more.
Yeah.
And I like that sort of grassroots building that goes beyond. It's not social media. It's like you wanted something to do that wasn't going to be a bane on your anxiety. You know, you want like, oh, what's going on Halloween? Because we did it on Halloween weekend in Philadelphia. What's going on Halloween weekend that isn't packed with drunk people? Oh, this cool movie being played at this dope comic book store. Let's go to that. And so we hung out with people who were in that lane, which are the people who are like us already, that we grew up like, people who go after those horror films that might not necessarily be seen by a whole lot of people, and not in that hipster way, but more in like, no, but this is fucking interesting.
Well, it's been our first festival was the Black Film Festival in Washington D.C.
Yep.
And it was in this amazingly lovely theater, and it was packed with black people, and Lamar was like, "Yeah, we gotta sit in the middle to see this movie." And I'm a bag of sweat and nerves. I don't want to be there. I want to like be in the lobby and kind of wait.
Nah.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, "Nah, man, we sitting up close. We sitting right in the middle." And ours was the last film to screen. And it was in the Black Lives Matter film block.
Yeah.
And it was a bunch of really emotional, intense, well-done documentaries and short films, none of which, like, even encroached on anything genre-based or comedic.
Nah.
And I'm like, wait, so ours is the last film they're going to play? Oh, man, Jesus, what they doing?
The right thing is what they did, because, I mean, that's the thing, like, writ large, the black experience through film has traded in on, and rightly so, accurately so, on hardship. And page one also pulls from that. But it's fun, and there's something very heroic and inspiring about the experience of the protagonist and his support. And I've got victim number one on the brain now. So, but to send people home from the first annual DC Black Film Festival feeling inspired after having their experiences validated. I mean, that's just good booking.
Well, it was great, and I bring it up because one, seeing just an audience, and I'll be specifically a Black audience. We've seen it multiple times now. React to the horror in our film and the comedic moments in our film. Like, that's it. Don't go in there. Get like all of that, and people like that was the reaction. Like, I know me and Don have talked about it, and all three of us have talked about it. Like, that was the emotional reaction we were trying to elicit. And it only bolsters our confidence going forward. So when we're in the room with vultures, so we're in the room with people that question our lack of fame. We know we got something good.
Yeah,
At the same time, I dug when we screened it at the New Jersey Horror Con and Film Festival.
Yeah.
This was actually an all-white audience. And to see that they understood the horror tropes immediately.
Yeah.
And they resonated with, like, it didn't have to be, it was like they just got all the horror things. They, like, knew all those things. And how they laughed. And it broke, like, the things that screened before it were kind of, like, weird. And they were different.
We did sit in the back for that one. And that positioning was, I mean, also not an accident. Because we knew the room. And it was like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and watch this.
Yeah. And I was like nervous because it was the first time I would see it in front of an audience. But, like, they
were with us, yeah.
It was with the whole thing.
So whether it's genre specific or target audience specific, we have the evidence that goes beyond what kind of name we have, and we're in a critical time now where the people who've normally been endowed with that ability to go, I'm not sure, they have been told routinely over the past couple years or so that they don't know what the fuck they talking about, and they have to sit down. So we're hoping that the momentum of this project carries into that wave where they are still sitting down or even doing something else for a living.
Yeah.
And it's so important to have that knowledge that, like, I made the film that I wanted to make, or that we wanted to make, and it will find its audience. Like, the audience is maybe even wider than you. As somebody who also, like, makes stuff that's, the stuff I make, I get told no a lot about.
Yeah.
Not so much recently, because now Sean and I just do stuff. And
I just say yes to everything.
But
Like, yeah, whatever. And then when we start working, I'm like, maybe we change this part.
but
Actually, the last film we made, and then the next one we're making, I wrote, and then you rewrote.
that's true.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Sean is like, I wrote a thing, and like emails it to me. I'm like, this is great. I'm gonna write on it now, and we
I
pass
shit
it
out
on.
a lot of terrible scripts. You guys want a terrible script? I'll shit out a terrible script.
That's it.
You guys can rewrite it, do whatever you want with it.
So something since Mayor is happening?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're shooting something
dope.
next month.
All right.
that
Yeah.
I'm directing. Yeah, that Sean sent me a script for. That it actually reminded me a little bit when you were talking earlier about in DC, like the audience leaving on a more like somewhat inspiring note.
Yeah.
Like after like our script, without giving too much away, originally it had a pretty bleak ending because it's about some bleak stuff. But it was after Charlottesville actually last summer that I was just like, no, like
Right.
this can't end on a bleak note. This needs to end. Not everything's great.
Right.
Stuff's still fucked up, but there needs to be some kind of hope that we're sending
absolutely.
people. Like, I don't want to put something out into the world right now that's
Yeah.
just hopeless, because that's how I feel. So
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And no, I really feel like, and I know some people, when I've said this, like, look at me cockeyed, but I really feel like horror movies are a great vehicle to access hope.
Yeah.
And I think most people, like, they're when they think of horror, for the uninitiated, when they think of horror, like, they go to, the gratuitous aspects, and like that's somewhere some people have definitely gone. But life is a pressure cooker for me. It's a pressure cooker for everybody, and like depending on your circumstance, like whether you're a woman, a black woman, your race, your sexual circumstances, that pressure cooker can be even more intense. And I feel like horror and comedy are a valve to examine and talk about it and not deny it.
Absolutely.
It just goes to show you. I mean, I think the aversion to horror by the people that we've talked to a lot. I mean, these screenings, we go like, how many of you guys like horror movies? And it's like maybe 3-4 people. And everybody else is like, we don't. And it's like, why not? It's because they're scary, And I get that.
I was like, being black is scary. So
Yeah.
we're in agreement.
The thing about it, though, is that I think that the genre from a mainstream standpoint, it doesn't. It seems to exist just for jump scares, or just to do something crazy or weird or bloody or gory, and like that's the thing. We know that even within those more bigger budget horror films, that's not all the time what's happening.
Right.
And it's so I get where the bias comes from. And to your point, Tarik, about people looking at us cockeyed about horror, it's like, well, you just got to put the glasses on.
Yeah.
It's like, put the They Live glasses on.
Sunglasses.
Just put on the glasses.
Yeah.
10-minute fight.
Put on the glasses. But once they do, and I think Page One and Victim Number One are those glasses for a lot of will be for a lot of people. If the commercial precedent wasn't.
Yeah.
So.
Commercial, I even think I'd be interested to hear what you think, Don. Like Black Panther, I want to talk about that briefly. Not just because I want to talk about Black Panther all the time, but it's in the trailer. So like you have Black Panther in theaters. Annihilation just came out.
Yeah.
Get Out, I get, is in that camp too. Of like there are these movies that are not just commercially
A Wrinkle in Time,
popular,
bro.
A Wrinkle in Time coming out, but people are realizing like, oh, you can, speaking to the masses and being challenging and artistic and political, they're not mutually exclusive. And I do think like
They can't be
there's
right now.
Yeah. We are in the midst of talking with producers right now and putting together all the things that you need to put together
To answer your first question.
to finally answer your question, which is exciting. But that is something I've taken note of like, Ryan Coogler's artistic vision came through. And that's what people are talking about. Like, that's the topic of conversation. Not just how cool this popcorn movie was. It was like, how political this movie was. How political Get Out was. How horror movies and genre movies specifically, I feel like, should be challenging.
Yeah. They can be both because it was super cool.
Right. Super cool.
There's a 4-hour cut that has been scored, and people want it.
I want it so much.
Yeah.
I want it so much. We can't talk about too much. Nicole hasn't
I'm
watched
seeing
it
it tomorrow.
Okay.
I was in Florida when it came out. We could not persuade my grandmother, who's 99, to
Ooh.
go to the theater for the first time in 2 decades. Although
She would have loved
that
it.
would have been
I think.
amazing.
I think she would have. The whole time she has the TV on all the time, because she's 99
Yeah.
and that's her company. And even when we're there, like she still needs to have that on.
Yeah.
But that was like 50% of what was on the TV the whole time we were there.
Yeah.
And we actually did get her. She's like, "Oh yes, I would like to see that." And we're like, "Maybe when it's on DVD."
Yeah. People are like, well, it's like the warm climate of Florida. It's like Wakanda. It's like, I don't know what the bridge is.
But it was fascinating to me because we were, we'd have like The View on or whatever.
Yeah.
And like Lupita and Nyong'o was on talking about colonization and the effects of colonization on Africa today because of the blockbuster movie she stars in that they're talking about on The View.
Right.
And I'm like, whoa,
Right.
Yeah.
that's
It's not just a tag on for an Oscar speech that someone decided to do.
Yeah.
It's part and parcel with the project itself.
and it wasn't like she brought it up and the hosts of The View were like, whoa, this took a turn. It's like everybody's just like, oh, okay, we're talking. And I'm like, this is just what we're talking about on The View when we're talking about
Meghan McCain was cool with this?
She kept her mouth shut.
Okay, that sounds about right.
Yeah. She was pretty quiet.
Can't stand her ass.
Yeah.
She's just so smug.
Yeah, she's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I don't watch The View ever.
Yeah, I don't either.
except
Yeah, I
with
don't know.
grandma,
I don't know
but
either. I don't watch The View.
No, I mean,
Not at all.
No,
Never seen
no, I
it.
don't.
she
just
refuses to
guessing.
put on the glasses.
Let's put the glasses on.
Let's put the glasses on. No, I refuse. Okay.
I have a question.
Oh, it's your question.
Do you guys want to play a game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, I like to be as thematic as I can be for our trivia games. So, you guys do a podcast, Brothers from Another Planet. It stars Joe Morton, right?
The movie did.
is
Their
the movie
podcast
does.
does not.
Why doesn't your
Bars
podcast
has-
star Joe Morton? Come
Not
on.
yet. Not yet.
So it starts with Joe Morton. Morton is a salt company.
Oh boy.
Salt is in Tears.
Yeah.
Tears for Fears was an 80s band
Yeah.
that did a song called Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Yeah.
The world is a planet. So let's do planets trivia.
Oh man. I
Wow,
thought it was gonna be
that-
Tears for Fears, and I was like, all right, bet, let's do this. But then you went.
Can I answer some Turbo Teen questions instead?
I still got those.
You have to be a fan of the pod, man. You got to be a loyal listener of the
I'm
pod
a
to
fan
get
of
down with
Turbo
that.
Teen though.
We
That's-
just-
Wait, what?
Our last episode, we just did
Wait,
Turbo
really?
Teen trivia.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
How did I? All right, I gotta listen to your last podcast. Like
You should have been on the last.
Was,
we
was
should
it
time
cold
travel.
water? It's been a while. Was it cold water, hot water?
Hold on, I still got it on here. It was
Extreme cold and extreme heat.
extreme cold, extreme heat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would trigger it.
Yeah, and he had his black friend that would drive him. And the dog. Man, I love that show.
Can't believe this is happening.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
And his like face would just like talk about like that's a horror movie right
I
there.
want to make that a real movie. So bad.
That joint freaked me out as a kid.
Stretching out.
See, y'all know what it is. I didn't know anything about it until I,
didn't
listened to the last episode.
Did you go and look up the
Hell no.
transformation?
No,
I
I was on
linked
bike when I was
that in the
listening to
show
it, and I was
notes.
like, yeah, I'm not
Okay,
looking
we're
that
gonna
up.
show Lamar a clip of Turbo Teen.
my God.
Nah,
This is
man.
all done.
It's terrifying.
It's live action?
No, it's cartoon.
It's a cartoon.
But if it was live action, like I just
my
want to
God,
shoot
they
the
could do
live
it
action
now.
It
transformation.
would be, and like his transformation was like he would like getting all fours and his hands
would
would
turn to
turn wheels
wheels.
and then his feet would turn into wheels and then like they were like, nah, we're not done. And you're a kid, you're traumatized and like, and they show his face and his face stretches out into the front grill of his car.
That and Go Boss was freaky too.
Oof.
Because the Go Boss scooter had the face still on the front of the scooter. And
Oh my
God.
Oh, Sidekill? You talking about Sidekill?
I hated those people, man. I hated Go Boss.
Why do I know so much about this stuff? It's still in my brain. Why do
It's stuck there
And like,
forever.
Because the leader one was a dick.
Oh,
I
boy.
hated leader
Oh,
one.
if there's any reason to see Victim number 1, the full production, is just to see what 80 shit pops out of my brain. Because it's in there. If Sidekill is in there, he's probably popping up in that screenplay.
I like Planet Trivia, though.
Planets trivia. Let's do planets trivia.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's do
That's what we're
planets
doing.
trivia. All right, so planets trivia. When was the first confirmed discovery of an exoplanet? Was it A, 1977, B, 1995, C, 2001, or D, 2055?
What's an exoplanet?
Oh, I'm sorry. An exoplanet is a planet beyond our solar system.
Oh,
I want to say,
95.
okay. I'm going to say 2001.
What were the options again?
1977, 1995, 2001, or 2055?
I'm gonna go 77 since nobody said 77.
Okay.
It's going to be 2055 then.
I'm gonna say 95 because I'm pretty sure
What do you
this
say?
has. No, wait,
You're going to say 95 because
no,
what?
I'll say D just to
just
spread it
2055.
around.
Spread it around.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was 1995.
Oh,
1995. Okay.
All right.
that's what I was gonna say.
remember
Oh,
why I
good
had to do
job.
this.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Boys Life magazine.
You got us.
Boys Life magazine.
Yep.
I only found out about exoplanets in 2001. So,
There you go.
yeah.
Here's a sticker.
Oh, wait. We're competing to get how many stickers? And this is all on science?
It is now.
This guy.
Don's the
engineer
Egon
is
of
right-
this
yeah.
group.
I'm not going to answer all right.
When was the idea of planets circling the sun finally supported by evidence?
Oh no.
Is it A, the 4th century, B, the 20th century, C, the 17th century, or D, never the Earth is the center of the universe?
17th, I'm gonna say.
Rephrase that question. Say it again.
When was the idea that planets circle the sun finally supported by evidence?
Man, I watched Cosmos. Neil deGrasse Tyson talked about this. I'm going to say 17th century.
17th.
I'd go with 17.
Yeah, I have to also say that because I'm pretty sure that's true.
Everybody said 17. Everybody gets a sticker.
All right.
Yay.
Our only reason why I guess that is because Copernicus is in
I couldn't
a
tell
sequel of Assassin's Creed, and and I've been playing that series for the past 6 months or so. And
Shout out to
I love
the
it.
educational benefits of
Yo,
I was
video
about to
games.
say.
Nice.
Yo,
yeah.
for real? Like, was it Ubisoft, the guys who make that game,
Yeah.
or make that game series? They just issued. So they have their latest game is set in ancient Egypt, and all of their games have historical context sprinkled in there. They have added just walking tours based on in the game that you can just do. You can pick characters to just walk around, and you can just read stuff, and they'll tell you about ancient Egypt. I like what they're doing.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
All right.
They're like, schools aren't covering this shit. We got to do it.
Yeah, it's true.
We got to do something.
So, last question. What are the 5 classical planets? Classical planets being the planets they could see before the telescopes, the ones that you can see in the sky with the naked eye. Are they Jupiter, Mars, Earth, Venus, and Mercury? Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn? Vulcan, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Planet X? Or Beethoven, Mozart, Bach, Tchaikovsky, and Mars?
Classical. I'm gonna say B.
I'm going to say B.
What was A again?
Jupiter, Mars, Earth, Venus, and Mercury.
Sure, A.
Okay.
I'm going to go with B.
You're going to go with B? B is the correct.
So everybody got an equal amount of
I
stickers.
know we could see Saturn.
Stickers for
Yeah. This is so cool. I can put these on my table and on my notebook.
Nice.
Yay.
Yeah.
2. There's so many places you can put 2.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that was our episode.
Yeah, I think that has been the 4 Mile Circus.
The 4 Mile Circus.
I feel bad. I'm looking. You got all those notes, and I'm like,
Oh,
did we
this
hit
is
you?
actually only 1 page of notes, and then the rest is somebody's pitch doc
Wait.
I need to read that I accidentally grabbed along
Wait.
with it.
So there's just page 1 notes. Yeah, guys.
Bringing it all around. See, that's just good. That's why the vultures really need to pick up on you guys, because you know how to bring it back.
I'm imagining the music playing right now, and it's making me happy.
Yeah, it's playing. So who are we, and where can we be found, Sean?
We're 4 Mile Circus. You can be found at 4milecircus.com, 4 Mile Circus on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I'm Sean, and this is Nicole, and you should friend Nicole on Facebook.
No, you
'cause she needs
shouldn't.
more Facebook friends.
No, I don't.
She really wants to talk about politics with you.
No, I don't.
Oh,
Not on
boy.
Facebook.
A lot. A lot. And tell us, where can they find you guys?
Well, Facebook.com/page 1 short is where you can keep track of developments, screenings, and new festival stuff and content, things like that. Personally, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at LeMar McClean, LeMarMclean.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tarik R. Davis. That's TARIKRDAVIS.
You can find me at Mac.
Why are you always going to laugh?
Because you always smooth it out.
You can find me at Mad Country.
I don't think
You always put the player on when you do your socials.
You see, this is so embarrassing for me now. You can find me at Mac. MADCLOWNETRY or Jamtown Films on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
If you like what you heard, please subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, or your platform of choice. Please visit us at 4milecircus.com to learn about our other projects and services, and be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at 4 Mile Circus.